Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Delhi Township Board of Trustees meeting for the October 26, 2022 meeting. To open the meeting, we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. And if you'll notice, we're Bobbsey Twins again, supporting the October month for breast cancer. These shirts are the ones being provided by the fire department this year in support of the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So again, in our moment of silence, I'd like to recall all those who have fought, those who have survived, and those we have lost to breast cancer. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. All right. Kind of an exciting night here. We have special guests visiting us from Shiloh Troop 350, and they are here getting their citizenship and community badge. Is that correct, boys? Okay, and these guys go from grade 6 to grade 12. Caleb Winningham, are you going to speak to the group about your badge? Are you shy, Caleb? Okay, well, we welcome you here. We hope we're able to help you in earning your badge for citizenship and community. And grow up and be Eagle Scouts, because we have lots of projects for Eagle Scouts, too. Okay? All right. Thank you for being here. We'll move to the approval of the minutes then.
Motion to approve the minutes from the Board of Trustees regular meeting on October 12th, 2022.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Motion approved.
Motion to approve the payment of overtime for pay period ending October 18th, 2022.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor? Yes. Motion approved.
Motion to approve bills for payment.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion approved. Report from our fiscal officer, Mr. Luby.
We have Resolution 2022-166, resolution amending appropriations for expenses, declaring an emergency, and dispensing with a second reading.
I will introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Is there any discussion on this resolution? Any additions, subtractions, explanations?
Well, this is basically moving funds to pay police department salaries for patrol officer training. And it's a reimbursement from
Okay.
the state. And so we just need basically to shift funds to salaries from
All right.
other.
Good. All right, thank you.
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes. Resolution passes.
Resolution 2022-167, resolution authorizing the township interim administrator to spend greater than $10,000 on behalf of the township, declaring an emergency, and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
And is there any further discussion on this resolution?
This is an increase due to higher than we expected fuel prices. We're talking $48,687, which is actually an estimate because with variability in pricing, we don't know whether this will be the exact amount or not. But as you know, prices are much higher than we had budgeted for last year, so
Oh, yeah.
this is a resolution to account for that.
All right, thank you.
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading? Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes. Resolution passes.
Significant transactions since our last meeting. We had a payment to Huntington Bank for $249,000. This is a loan payment on our new ladder truck. A payment to Huntington Bank for $52,500. This is the fourth quarterly payment on our pumper fire truck. We have payment to Horton Emergency Vehicles for $133,000. This was a remount of a chassis for our ambulance. and a check to Queen City Blacktop for $55,000 for pickleball courts. And our payroll on 10/13 was $319,000. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Luby. Trustee correspondence, Trustee Davis?
Yes, I have a couple pieces quickly, hopefully. I want to talk, this is that time of year, obviously, we're a couple weeks away from the election and everything that's going on with that. And I'm sure, I know I get emails or calls, I'm sure my friends here do also, from people saying, what's on the ballots and what is this and what's that? So I just thought tonight, it'd take 2 minutes to just kind of briefly explain a couple of these that are out there that I think is important that people understand. It's not an endorsement event either, but I think sometimes information is king here, and I think you should know. Issue 1, for those that are listening and at home, Issue 1, this proposed constitutional amendment would require courts to consider factors like public safety when setting the amount of bail on a defendant. Someone does something, they go out, they get arrested, maybe they beat up somebody or did something to somebody's property, maybe they robbed the bank, whatever the horrific crime is that they've been charged with, they are arrested. Things have gotten, in my opinion, a little crazy because some do these what's called OR bonds, own recognizance, where they're just let out and you hope that they come to the hearing. But this is an interesting thing, which I'm amazed that we actually have to have this on the ballot, but I'm glad that it's going to be. Issue 1, this proposed amendment, if it's passed, would require Ohio courts, when setting the amount of bail, to consider public safety, including the seriousness of the offense, as well as the person's criminal record, or the likelihood that this person is going to return to court again, and any other factor the Ohio General Assembly may prescribe to that. The second point is remove the requirement that the procedures for establishing the amount and conditions of bail to not be determined by the Supreme Court of Ohio. Water that down. What does that mean in layman terms? It means that the judges, as long as you pass Issue 1, will be able to consider if this person is a risk to society, a risk to themselves, a risk to those that they just offended or abused, and gives them the power to look up and say, you're not going anywhere, you will stay here, or it'll be a bond that is pretty much not able to be met maybe in most situations. This is very important. Again, it's not swaying you either way, but be aware. Sometimes you get into the ballot box and you look at things and it's so convoluted and you're trying to figure out what it means. Issue 1, if passed, is going to let the judges decide what makes the most sense for bonds. Is that important for the safety of our community? You better bet. You better bet. So yes, if passed, that amendment will take effect immediately. The other is Issue 2. Issue 2, to prohibit local government from allowing non-electors to vote. This, I cannot believe that we are actually looking at this, and this actually has to be on a ballot. Issue 2, the proposed amendment would require that only citizens of the United States being at least 18 years of age and who have been legal residents and registered voters for at least 30 days can vote at any state or local election held in the state. It prohibits local governments from allowing a person to vote in local elections if they're not legally qualified to vote. If passed, the amendment goes into effect immediately. Again, not trying to sway your vote, but wake up. There are things coming up on these ballots that you need to be aware of what's going on. Issue 2, if passed, is not going to allow people that aren't citizens in this country to vote. Not yet. Do it what everybody else does. Do the naturalization ceremonies. Go through the things that allowed every one of us the right, the freedom to vote. It's important. And Issue 1 speaks for itself. Speaks for itself. But I'm not trying to sway the election. And?
Thank you, Trustee Davis. Both of these issues have been endorsed by both political parties, and I think that's important for all of you to know that both governor candidates have endorsed both Issue 1 and Issue 2. We heard a very impassioned speaker last night, our Representative Bill Seitz, talk about Issue 2. And with Issue 2, If you ever have the opportunity, and we all have sitting here, to go through the naturalization ceremony with the people from all over the world who have gone through the classes, taken the test, signed the papers to become a naturalized citizen of the United States, it is the most moving ceremony. Not only that, but when I leave there, I feel like I just renewed my own citizenship. It is so moving. And one of the things that they talk about in that ceremony happens to be their right to vote. And at that ceremony, they have people there to register those newly naturalized citizens to vote. So please consider these when you go into the ballot box on November the 8th, issue 1 and issue 2. Thanks, Mike. That was very impassioned. Trustee Sturts?
To add on to what you're saying, as we attend it, the pride in the faces of the people who are going through the naturalization, that's key to watch. That's very empowering. I'm not as impassioned about my issues, but I'm very proud of newsletters, of letters that we receive. Again, I'm the one I really like to promote what our employees do because they don't always hear from the people they serve. But first of all, very proud that the Ohio Attorney, their fall newsletter featured our own community advocate, Kaylee Vickers. Thank you. And what a fantastic job she was doing. So, again, good move by Chief to bring Kaylee on and develop that position. We also heard for the police department, Jan Gelhar, how he helped some woman with her 91-year-old mother who got locked out of their car at Kroger's, and how happy she was, and how, her 91-year-old mother was very upset. And they had one time called AAA, and it took 45 minutes for them to get there, and then they weren't really sure how they were going to get in the car. But Officer Gelhar, God bless him, didn't even break the window. She was so excited. Also, Detective Joe Rui. Thank you, Detective. The person that he worked with for over 10 months in a case, and she was so appreciative. And he has, as she put it, given her hope in police again. She had lost hope in our police officers, or in police officers in general, not ours. And she said, I just want to say what a respectful, kind, communicative, professional person Detective Joe Rui was. So again, thank you for that. And not to leave out our first responders, our fire department, the paramedics responded to somebody recently, and they sent a big thank you to Nick Morrow, Eric Wise, and EMT Tyler Billman. So, as always, the three of us are very proud of everything that our first responders do that we get kudos for. And I wish all the departments we'd hear kudos about them because we're very, very proud of all of our employees. So thank you for the time to share that.
Okay. The article from the Attorney General, and Chief, I really haven't had a chance to share this with you as well. As a county township, we also belong to the Coalition of Large Ohio Urban Townships as well as the Ohio Township Association. And we've been asked to present a workshop at the Ohio Township Association meeting on our program of mental health and our care of our residents through not only our police social worker, but also our fire department social worker, Bobby Honert. It'll be quite an honor to be able to present to other townships around the state of Ohio exactly what Delhi Township is doing. And I had the opportunity to share that article with them, and that's what kind of, I guess, got them to consider our invitation. So we'll be very proud to present Delhi Township's caring units of social workers to the Ohio Township Association. Okay, special presentation tonight. We're very fortunate to have such a great library here in Delhi Township, and it doesn't come easy. There's a lot of work behind running an effective library. And we have with us tonight the director of the Hamilton County Public Library. Her name is Paula Breen Heeger. And Paula, you also have your guest with you, and she's our local.
That's Casey Tittinger, and she is indeed the branch manager at our Delhi branch here. And she has a little handout for those of you, the trustees. And thank you for your time tonight. I have my stopwatch, so I'm going to do my best to stay to 5 minutes. My parents are from Delhi, so I know people in Delhi don't mess around when they give you rules to follow. Thank you so much. What you have in front of you is just a sampling of our facilities master plan. So I'm here because I too feel it's very important to be transparent and keep people engaged. And we are in the midst of a very large facilities master plan. So you have just a segment of it that is the West Planning Zone. I know those at home and other people don't have that. It is completely on our website. It's actually 3 volumes. I bring this for some visual reference about how large our library system is. It's an excellent library system. It is in total 41 public locations throughout Hamilton County, about 1 million square feet of public space. So you have one of our branches that is due to the age of a lot of our locations, it's slightly newer. It was redone in 1999. Many of you may be aware of that. So when we look at the West Planning Zone, there are a number of neighborhoods nearby that are included in there. Price Hill, which we've recently redone that Carnegie and opened that, as well as Cheviot, Covedale. They're all listed there, Westwood. However, it is the zone that has the smallest per capita square footage of library space per population. So we do know we're pretty heavily library throughout the county, but here on the west side, we know we have the potential to do a little bit more, and Delhi is part of that longer-term plan. So all of the facilities improvements we're doing right now have been made possible as part of the yes vote on a local levy in 2018 that gave us the go-ahead to have the dollars to improve our locations. For some reference, we have many locations that are well over 80, 90, or 100 years old. We just reopened our Walnut Hills branch, which is our 1906 building, the first branch in the system, and it had never been significantly renovated. It was one of 3 branches that we had that if you couldn't do steps, you couldn't get in the building. So it wasn't handicap accessible at all. So it is now. It has a ramp, it has an elevator, as does the Madisonville branch and Price Hill I mentioned earlier. In your West Planning Zone, Cheviot, unfortunately, remains a location that is not totally handicap accessible. It is one of 3 remaining where the bathrooms are not on the main public floor. There's no elevator. It's very difficult to get to them. So we are looking at Cheviot as another improvement here in your planning zone. Green Township, which I always like to think of as newer because I worked there when I was in high school, but that's not as new as it once was. It's under a refresh, so it was closed in August and will be opening here by the end of the year. So we have a lot going on throughout the county. I also want to point out that Delhi is in our planning zone there, one of the locations that is scheduled for a significant improvement, possibly renovation or expansion, sometime before the expiration of our levy, which is a 10-year levy. This is a 10-year plan. So we are currently doing feasibility studies for Delhi. We don't have that many sites that are conducive to expansion. Many of them are small. They don't have great parking options. But in the Delhi description, you'll note that's one of the sites here, particularly on the west side, that will give us the opportunity to do something really great there, like a next generation library, which is what we're calling them. We're doing one right now in Forest Park. So you would be the other sort of big expansion, impressive library that we would have the opportunity to do as part of this 10-year plan. So we're going to give you more information about that as we go along. But, you know, Delhi, the library is located right next to the park. It has a great location. It's got many opportunities for us to really make that another one of our premier locations. So I wanted to make sure you knew what we were doing with our levy dollars. It's important to me that we be transparent, and I take tax dollars quite seriously. So the plan will tell you all the things we're doing now and in the next several years, the things we have accomplished, and Delhi is on our list as one that will be coming to talk to you pending no terrible economic news, that we would be talking to you about what the future of that one would be. You can get all the details online in the 3-volume set of our facilities master plan, but I just wanted to come and make sure you knew what was going on. That's about 5 minutes.
That's great, Paula. We love being on the list. We'd like to be the top of the list.
We're saving the best for
Here, I might
last.
as well ask people, you know? On the list is good, top of the list is better. But I know that your board's do an awful lot of work, and we appreciate that.
Absolutely, and I did grow up in Delhi, so I do feel like if I had put you at the top of the list, perhaps that would have looked a little like some favoritism. So, in fairness, we're just moving forward, and we look forward to working with all of you as that gets closer.
Thank you, Paula.
Thank
Absolutely.
you for even expanding the libraries with today's technology.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so, bless you for that.
Well, and your Delhi branch doesn't have a designated meeting room, and I will tell you that is one of the biggest services we offer. So I'm looking forward to that opportunity. The Walnut Hills branch we just opened has a large meeting room and then several smaller rooms for tutoring or small meetings, those kinds of things. So there are some newer advances that I think a modern library here in Delhi, your residents, you all would really benefit from that.
Comments?
No, it's interesting you said that because I was just curious. We were talking about expansion, but in this age where actually paperback books and things, you go right online and it's at your, fingertips. But I would imagine, like you talk, meeting space and probably computers and things like that, because not everyone has that to their.
That's right. And we really have seen a lot of return from our school kids. And the Delhi branch, I went to Delhi Junior High. I myself walked right down the street. I mean, that is a great out-of-school, after-school location. And while it seems large now, we have so many kids that if we had more opportunities, some meeting space, we could make that a place that really serves a great after-school crowd too. So I think there are many things that have gone online, but we still see the demand and new ways that people want to use that public space of the library.
Thank you, Paula.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
All right, moving along through the agenda now. Let's hear from the fire department. Mr. Luby?
We have a motion to approve the hiring of Ryan W. Cease as career firefighter paramedic in the fire department at the rate per the collective bargaining agreement with the IAFF Local 3389 upon successful completion of the Ohio Police and Fire Pension Medical Questionnaire and Physician Certification effective November 2nd, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion approved. Any comments?
No, I think this is great. And we talked about that with the other hiring with Sarah and Andrew, two great hires. I think some might have thought you and I weren't on the same page. You and I were on the same page. I just wasn't ready that night. But I think the residents benefit from three incredible candidates, or excuse me, full-time firefighters that are just great. And being over at Bailey and the amount of runs and things, I get to see you guys in action, and I'm just always amazed, and just the professionalism. And, it's like when they walk away and they take the patient out, it's when I listen to the other employees, like at Bailey and these other places, who just had the encounter with your people, and they're just always praising them. They're just so good, very professional, and at the same time, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just compassion. They just
Yes.
really have compassion with what they do. And
I agree with
Delhi,
that, so.
you're in great hands with our safety services and fire. Yeah.
We look forward to bringing Ryan on. He's been with our department for 5 years now, and certainly making the transition to full-time. We're excited to bring him on and see what he can do.
Great. So I guess we're now back to interviewing for part-timers.
We're always interviewing for part-timers. Any of the young men here would like to apply for a fire job? No, we're always. It kills me. People email me, call me all the time. Are you taking applications? We've never stopped taking applications. I think just the need is there. We want to build a good system within our community. So if you're thinking about getting into the fire service, certainly we are accepting applications all the time. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Luby, we have a motion then.
Motion to accept the voluntary resignation of part-time firefighter EMT Braden H. Costa effective October 6, 2022.
So moved?
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes?
Yes. Motion approved. Chief, is this a part-timer going to a full-time job?
Costa.
Uh-huh.
He is not. He could not make the schedule work, so he has decided to work his other jobs.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. Thank you for your service, Braden.
Motion to accept the voluntary resignation of part-time firefighter EMT Benjamin L. Hodgson, effective October 19th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion approved. Any explanation, Doug?
He did get a full-time job. He is headed to the city of Cincinnati. He's already started a recruit class.
Okay.
Motion to accept the voluntary resignation of part-time firefighter EMT Zachary A. Dapper, effective October 22nd, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion approved.
And likewise, he is going to the city of Middletown.
So-
Both cities do not allow
People,
them
are
to
you
work
are you
with
seeing a trend here that part-timers move on to full-timers? And also there's a conflict a lot of times with more than one part-time job. So we're trying to keep it all balanced.
Yes.
And
Certainly.
it's a competitive environment. Everybody wants not just they want good candidates. That's
Oh,
what-
absolutely.
Talking about the 3 that you just got is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So
No, it's
hopefully
very tough out there, and certainly, we're just as competitive. We're out there in that market trying to look for the same folks, but it's really about trying to stay ahead of the game. And these are cities that hire at a much higher frequency than we do. And you take our need versus theirs, it's just compounded. Certainly, it's made it tough, but we're still hanging in there.
Great. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
But you're training them so well, your department. and
Yes,
your-
we have great
Right.
firefighters throughout the greater Cincinnati area. Fantastic
People want
firefighters
'em,
out there.
yeah, yeah.
All right. Moving to Parks and Recreation, Mr. Luby.
Motion to accept the voluntary resignation of seasonal parks and recreation worker David A. Hay, effective October 1st, 2022.
so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion approved. Randy, is this our regular seasonal on-off?
Yeah, with our terms, at the end of the year for wintertime, we have to resign our seasonal. So in the next couple of meetings, we'll have a few of them coming up.
Few more? Okay.
Yeah, until we blow out waters and start shutting stuff
Well,
down.
thank you, David Hay, for your service this past summer. We know we kept him busy.
Yeah.
So, all right. So are you you won't start hiring again for seasonal probably until
Late-
after the first of the year?
Yeah, March around that time. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you, Randy. Any other updates from Parks?
The only other update would be the pickleball. If everybody's been up there, you can see the lines have been painted. We are grading seed and straw. Hopefully, we get a little grass before the winter time here. Unlikely, but we'll see. We are getting temporary nets. They are on order for some remaining of the season. So if you see some of the nets out, you're more than welcome to come start playing on them. But the final approach on everything will be next year. Painting, the permanent netting, fencing, whatnot. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Everyone's looking forward to it, so thank you.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks.
Mr. Luby, Police Department, please. Chief.
Resolution 2022-168, resolution authorizing the sale of Township Police Dog to its former handler, Jeffrey R. Miller, and dispensing with a second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Chief Howard?
No, Levi was going to be retiring at the end of the year, first of next year, and you'll see the next resolution reference the resignation of Officer Miller, who's going to Cheviot Police Department. So with that, through the state code, we're able to sell the police dog for $1, so that's what the resolution's for. And
Okay.
we'll maintain him as a pet.
Thank you.
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes, resolution passes.
Motion to accept the voluntary resignation of Police Officer Jeffrey R. Miller, effective October 29th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion approved. Thank you, Jeffrey Miller, for your service.
Yes, I'd like to thank Jeff for his 14 years to the community. Did an excellent job, and the last 8 with Levi, which we know is a tough job. People think, oh, it's just a dog you carry around to work, but the amount of time he puts
No.
into that, so.
Not just a dog.
Yeah, so we appreciate that. And I wish Jeff well. He has nothing but good things to say about the township and the department, and he just feels like he's got some more opportunities maybe over there.
Okay, well, we wish him best, and we thank him for his service.
Yeah.
Mr. Luby?
Motion to approve the chief of police to execute an addendum to the task force agreement with the Drug Enforcement Administration, permitting all Delhi police officers assigned to DART to be deputized as task officers of DEA pursuant to 21 USC Section 878.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor? Yes.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Just a few things on this I'll mention. First, this is an every year thing. With this new contract, they've actually changed it to every 4 years, so we won't have to do this every year.
Okay.
There is an addendum you'll see to it, and that's dealing with body-worn cameras, that now the federal government, when they do search warrants or arrest warrants, they have to be armed with body cams. Therefore, if we have somebody in the dark capacity doing that, he or she will also be wearing the body cam
Okay.
during that federal warrant. And then finally, it's now an unfunded position. It was a funded position. Big difference there is if the DART agent is working as a deputized agent on the task force and doing something for the federal part of it instead of DART, they were reimbursed. We were reimbursed the overtime. That was a funded, what they considered a funded position. Now it's gone to unfunded. So technically, if he does something with them on off time or something like that, we would be responsible for overtime if we do that. The reason, and I sat down with the special agent in charge, the reason they're going from funded to unfunded is because we had very little overtime. They're allotted $19,000 plus for a funded position. Last year, we had just over $1,000 in overtime. That's not good on their side to say they have a funded position and they're not being used. That money's not being used at $19,000. Therefore, they wanted to back it down to unfunded. So,
But that gives you the opportunity to project what the impact will be to your own salaries.
correct.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yep. Any questions?
Well, I did ask about Operation Santa.
Oh, yeah.
You want to explain?
There'll be more details coming out on that. It's all the logistics are still being, but last year, if you remember, the fire department going around with Santa Claus on a Saturday from 10 to noon in the subdivisions and so forth. We're doing it this year, so Santa will be out in the Polaris with the Delhi police officer driving around. On a Saturday, there'll be more information coming out in the route and stuff like that in the time, so everybody can be on the lookout for Santa.
So we haven't had Halloween yet, everyone, but we're already planning for
Planning.
Santa. You know,
Got a plan.
never too soon. All right, thanks, Chief.
Chief, I have one thing,
Yes.
if you don't mind. And it's a very serious thing, and I think we've all experienced it. For some reason, people think that maybe this country has stopped having to stop at red lights.
I knew where you were going.
Yeah, it's like, and you see it everywhere, and people, they're, oh my gosh, you should have seen it. And I'm telling everyone, that light turns green, don't go. Look both ways, so
3
you
seconds.
know. And it seems, and I'm not slamming the city, but you see a lot there in these other areas, but I want the residents of Delhi to know this is not going to be tolerated in Delhi Township. Delhi Township police have always had an incredible reputation for making sure that we enforce the laws in a good way, friendly, but the laws are the laws. You can't be running the red lights and you see everybody else doing it. So I don't know if there's a plan or if there's something down the road that we're looking at that, hey, we need to get the message out. You might see it around the other neighborhoods, but not here. It's not going to happen here.
Correct. And it actually was put out a blitz to the troops last Thursday, to step up on the intersections
lights?
and be visible and stuff. And yeah, so we're not going to, tolerate that. And it is. I mean, it's not just Delhi. It's everywhere you go in the city. I mean, if you're not sitting there for 3 seconds when your light turns green and looking, there's a good chance you can get clobbered.
Yeah.
And we don't want that
Doesn't
here.
yellow mean slow down and prepare to stop, not gun the gas and make the
But
light?
I mean, the ones I'm talking about, and I believe Trustee Davis are, they're flat out red.
It
And I
is
think a lot
blatant.
of it's this and distractions and looking down, and they're right through it, so we're fully aware, the officers are fully aware, so
Yeah,
be
and
on the
it's-
lookout for
And
us.
it's not a harassing thing. It's not a you're just trying, no. And when someone throws something out, which I always laugh when they say, oh, Delhi's just doing that because you make all that money on the tickets. Tell everybody how much, we make $4. $4 on a ticket, folks. It has nothing to do with that.
We're not making
So,
revenue on traffic
Yeah,
tickets.
it's safety. You got to be safe. And with the traffic and with everything improving up on the pike and businesses coming and the Delhi Town Square, it's like, no, we need to make sure that everyone's on the same page.
I appreciate you
Run the red
bringing it
lights.
up.
Yeah. Thank you
And
so
on
much.
Delhi Pike, the no left turn means no left turn. That's another thing. People don't quite get the arrow, with the line through it, that you don't go left there. So we're going to have Delhi Traffic School.
Can I mention one more thing when you bring that up?
Sure.
Because we got a couple calls about what the police officer was doing for 3 hours with the blue lights going on Saturday
At
night
the
up at the
car
car wash.
wash.
Right. We got a lot of calls on that. So just to let everybody know, that was a detail. They had a haunted car wash, so they paid for a detail for the officer to be there, reference traffic and stuff. So that's why we were there. I think some people thought it was a long crime scene or something, because we were up there for so long. But that's what it's about.
Haunted car wash.
It's kind of a cool idea.
Possibly there this weekend. I know we had a detail scheduled for this weekend, but I also caught word that he might cancel that. So
All right. Thank you.
thank you.
All right, moving along to Public Works. Mr. Ripperger.
Resolution
Libby.
2022-169, resolution declaring certain property no longer needed for public use, obsolete, and unfit for the use acquired, authorizing sale by internet auction and disposal thereof, declaring an emergency and dispense with second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution? Mr. Ripperger.
This is something we do a couple times a year. We use Gov Deals, and it's been pretty good to us. It keeps unused equipment or stuff we're replacing moving pretty good. So,
Okay, thank
Move to
you.
dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading? Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes, resolution passes.
Motion to approve the hiring of Douglas R. Reeves as Service Worker 1 in the Public Works Department at the second step rate per the collective bargaining agreement with the Delhi Road Department Employee Association effective October 26, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion approved. Any other updates for us, Ron? By the way, you got very strong compliments this week
oh, that's good.
for your citizen visit to
Oh,
Overhill.
okay.
Yes, very nice. So thank you very much.
No problem. That's all I got.
That's it.
No questions?
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Moving on to administration, then, Mr. Luby, resolution, please.
Resolution 2022-170, resolution authorizing renewal of the township's property and casualty insurance through the Ohio Plan Risk Management, Inc., authorizing the township administrator to execute and deliver necessary documents, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. Lemon?
This is our annual renewal of our insurance. For 2023, the cost will be $112,122. That's a 5% increase over 2022. I would also mention that that's below the inflation rate, but also, excuse me, also, we're underwriting several $1 million worth more
Good.
insurance. So, when you consider an increase of 10% on the underwriting with a 5% increase on the cost, I think we came out okay. So I think we should move forward with that.
All right, thank you.
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts? Mrs. Seavey?
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2022-171, resolution approving Duke utility easement for Delhi Town Square, declaring an emergency and dispensing with second reading.
Introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. Lemon?
I would just mention that this is a very typical utility easement that comes with construction of new buildings, very standard, and legal counsel has revised the easement wording, so I think we're all good to go, and this will allow Duke to move forward with their plans to do a number of installations on the site.
great.
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2022-172, resolution in support of Round 17 Clean Ohio Conservation Fund grant application to acquire Rapid Run property.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution? Again, Mr. Lemon.
This is a requested resolution from Hamilton County in reference to supporting the Western Wildlife Corridor project. It's, they're basically applying for a grant, a state grant, to purchase 11.2 acres off Rapid Run near Sailor Park, and this will continue the corridor for them. So they asked for our support and request that you endorse that.
Any questions?
No.
No, thank
Nope.
you.
Okay.
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading? Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes, resolution passes. All right, community development, Mr. Roach.
Do you have anything else?
Oh, you have some updates for us? Yes, please.
Okay, as you know, I love to talk about Delhi Town Square progress.
And we do too.
And so I wanted to share with you and the audience and viewers some of the progress. This is, I have several aerial photos of development of the site, and as you can see, the outlines of it are coming along very nicely. You can really see the shape of the project coming forth. That's one view. Here's another, and again, you know, it's all becoming very distinct. So we're seeing a lot of progress there. This is where our new building will be, and you can see some foundation work going on there and laying of pipe. Here's another closer photograph of that. And then throughout the rest of the site, you can see just a lot of progress being made in terms of foundation pourings, in terms of curb. Here's some curb that's being laid prior to the asphalt being put down. Here's more, as you can see, more pipes coming out of the ground. So we're getting ready for a lot of work. I would also comment that the first apartment building construction is to begin the week of November 7th, so that's imminent, so we're excited about that.
Nice.
The site should have asphalt coverage throughout by the end of the month. I would say that we're excited about that, other than the one exception, which is with the possibility of a holding tank for wastewater elimination. We may have to remove part of that, so I'm working with Turner and others to try to minimize any work that's associated with that and any cost associated with it, such that we don't have to do as much work, and hopefully we can keep the cost down as well. So we're going to be monitoring that, but you'll be seeing asphalt everywhere very soon. Regarding the wastewater treatment system, we are actually switching the design team from working on a treatment plant to designing a holding tank, which is a strong indication that MSD has seen the light. That's not, ascertained yet for sure, but with the fact that we are designing it, I think it's a good indication. Secondly, we will still have to go through the permitting process, which will take probably several months, which leads to my communication about maybe having to dig up some of the asphalt.
Okay.
So we're going to be doing that in the next couple of weeks, but the holding tank might be several months away. So still excited that we think we're gonna be able to use that holding tank,
Great.
which will be great for us and save a great deal of money. And then all the telecom requirements are all in sync as well throughout the site, so we're happy about that. Turning to another topic, we continue to work on budgets. Mr. Luby met with me and was very helpful and insightful on several items, so I appreciate that. And then, of course, evaluations are underway as well, so we'll have those finished by the end of the year. As I expressed to Mr. Luby, my hope is that we can do everything on time and get this budget's finished routinely. However, with a number of things that are going on, we may not be able to meet that schedule precisely, but as long as we get it done by December 31st, which I'm positive we will, we'll still be in compliance, so. And we are continuing to recruit candidates for the administrator's position, and we have a target of beginning interviews with candidates in early December, so we're excited about that as well. And then I would also just comment that Ron and I met with TEC earlier this week regarding projects that they are busy on in the township, and talked about filing bid advertisements very shortly by the end of the year to make sure that we don't lose any revenue from grants.
Okay.
So we're excited about that as well. So that's all I have unless there are questions.
Nope.
Trustee Davis? Trustee Sturts?
Thank you. Covered it.
Mr.
Thank you
Luby?
so much.
Been working on the budgets?
Working on the budgets.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Community development.
Resolution 2022-173, resolution certifying violation abatement expenses at 471 Anderson Ferry Road and 328 Bob Drive to the county auditor for assessment, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. Roach?
Good evening, trustees. Yep, this is just the typical thing where we just allows us to submit to the Hamilton County auditors for reimbursement, placing the fees on the tax duplicates, so we can hopefully get some reimbursement at some time.
At some time.
I was going to say that's the disclaimer, isn't there?
That's
Move
just,
move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second a motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes. Resolution passes.
Resolution 2022-174, a resolution declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 4978 Troubadour Court, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. Roach?
sure. Yep. So the next three resolutions that Mr. Lee was going to read, unfortunately, we started with three this morning and we ended up with three. So all the properties are still in violation. So we're just requesting you declare them nuisances.
Okay.
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes. Resolution passes.
Resolution 2022-175, resolution declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 4250 Delhi Pike, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
Introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution? Same story.
The hanging gutter has fallen, so now it's considered debris. So we can address that with our nuisance procedures.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes. Resolution passes.
Resolution 2022-176, resolution declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 4810 Mount Alverno Road, declaring an emergency and dispensing with second reading.
Introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
Same story.
Same story.
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes. Resolution passes. Mr. Roach, were any of these, well, I know one for sure was more than one reading. violations?
So yes, so the gutter property, this is our third time your board.
Third time.
Declaring it a nuisance for different things.
Different issues?
Yep.
Okay.
But on a positive note, I want to say that our department has issued in the past week 2 more zoning certificates for Heather Ridge with the 19 new home sites. So we're off to a fantastic start with 4 out of 19 already
Already,
ready to be built.
wow.
Wonderful.
That's great. That's Heather Ridge. That's the one that is further down Cleves Warsaw, like south of Western Hills Retirement Center.
Yeah.
Okay, great news. Thank you, Mr. Roach. Moving to public comment, I have no one signed in.
We have one. Adam, that's all right. We saw you come in a little bit. Are you ready to talk? Yeah, come on up. Introduce yourself, where you're from, what you're doing out here, and for a great event, I think, for the township.
My name's Adam Kunzman. I'm a financial
Up to the
advisor.
mic.
Sorry, I like
There
to
you
talk. My name's Adam Kunzman. I'm a financial advisor with Edward Jones in the community. I think I've met pretty much everybody here. What my business had decided to do, and Mike and I had a great conversation last week, is after the parade, so Taylor Sunder House, I think, he and I had spoken about me helping with the parade. And one thing led to another, and we talked about, hey, how can we do something for the community relative to our office? And Mike and I talked, we were going to do, specific to Edward Jones, a Letters to Soldiers. So we're going to invite children, families to come into the office. We'll provide all the crafts, all the construction paper, anything that we would need for the kids, create cards for the soldiers, and then we'll mail them overseas, some cookies and things like that. Mike offered to open up the lodge so that we can have other businesses.
Exactly like that?
I apologize. We had a good conversation,
Yeah, we
and Mike
floated some ideas on-
suggested
yeah.
that maybe we make this a larger event than just specific to our office, and we say, hey, the parade's pretty short in duration. You have all these families bundle their kids up, they get in line, and then it's over. So why don't we have everybody come to the lodge afterwards, and we'll work towards doing something similar to what I just suggested. Let's make it a little bit bigger. So we're still going to have the children come in. I'll provide all of the crafts and things for the cards. We have I'm getting a list of all of our soldiers that are stationed overseas that are from this community. So Elder, whatever the schools are around here. So we're going to try to get a list.
Oak Hills.
Oak Hills, Elder, and there are several others. I am learning.
Just saying.
I am learning, so I'm newer to the community, but I think it's a great opportunity for us to extend the parade event, offer families in the community a great chance to give back and make it fun. So we'll bring a Santa, we'll have some cookies. There's a lot of small businesses that I've gotten to know, bakeries and things that I think would be great to get everybody together. So I have a save the date that I wanted to post on my personal social media site today. I've shared with Mike. Not sure the next steps as far as how the township would advertise it, but what I thought we would do is put a save the date, and then over the course of the next few weeks, just really slowly some of the activities that we have planned, so that kind of build up some of the anticipation. So I don't anticipate any costs for the township. Any small business that wants to come would be glad to bring their own supplies. I think we'll have Edward Jones sponsoring it, maybe. I don't know what you want to call that, but I think it'll be great for the community, and I just wanted to run that by and see if that was something we would be interested in doing.
Thank you. It sounds like a wonderful opportunity, especially to give anything back to the veterans and active service people. So have you been able to talk to our Delhi veterans about doing this? Okay,
So
good.
I have gone to several VA, VFW, and American Legion meetings. I haven't specifically gotten a hold of anybody at the Legion or the VA. I know the commander, but I haven't told them about it, but certainly make sure that they're involved. I think it'd be good to get. So I just had lunch with the principal at Elder today. So they have it's a school support the troops group at Elder. So I've got a message out to the teacher that supports that group, and I think that would be another opportunity. They're already doing so much support for our troops, so do they want to be involved too?
Well, keep us updated as
Absolutely.
it continues to get closer to Santa time.
Absolutely.
Adam, there's a group that always sits in the back. They haven't missed in 41 years.
And they're not here.
And they're
They're
not
here
here.
tonight. It's Commander Don Osterfeld and Ann and the whole group.
Jeff Leffler's the commander
Jeff.
I'm aware of.
Both of them, get them heavily involved. I think it's a great event. It is. The parade goes through and it's over and Santa's there, and we know Santa has a lot going on. But to have Santa stay a couple more hours at the Delhi Lodge and have a
Right.
cookie and work on letters for our soldiers is a great cause. I think you'll find a united community with that. Thank you, Ed Jones, and you and others. Like you said, whoever wants to be involved with this, let's make this a community fair.
Well, hopefully it'll be something that we can build and grow on over the years. I mean, I know personally I have every intention of being here for the next 20 years, so if we can do something and make it bigger and bigger and bigger, I think that's great.
Great. Thank you, Adam.
Thanks, Adam.
See you tomorrow.
Okay, then let's go to announcement of community events.
Our Halloween community trick-or-treating hours for Monday, October 31st is 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The High Branch Library Adult Program, Heritage Food and Herbs, Life in the 1800s, is Wednesday, November 2nd from 6:30. It starts at 6:30 p.m., and that's at the High Branch Library at 5095 Foley Road. It's for adults and seniors. Registration is recommended, and you can call the library for more information. The Delhi Township Veterans Association Veterans Day Ceremony is Sunday, November 6th at 1 p.m. And it's here at the Delhi Township Veterans Memorial Park at 934 Neeb Road. Join us for the unveiling of the veteran names added to the Wall of Honor Monument. Vocalist Rebecca Drew and bagpiper Michael Buchert will provide the patriotic music and songs. Color guard presentation by Delhi Veterans and American Legion Post 534. Delhi Historical Society presents John A. Roebling and his suspension bridge on the Ohio River, Monday, November 14th from 7 to 8 p.m. It's at the Delhi Park Lodge, and you can visit the Society's website for more information. Delhi Parks presents Delhi Sip and Shop Vendor Fair, Friday, November 18th at 6:30 p.m. It's at the Delhi Senior Center on Neeb Road. Enjoy a glass of wine, cocktail, or cold beer while shopping 30 vendors. Admission to the event, this event is free. And we do have one other event. The Addiston VFW Post 6428 presents a salute to their vets and an Italian dinner and a show. And entertainment is by Mike Davis. It is Sunday, November 6th, and it's from 1 to 4 p.m. And it's at Jim and Jack's on the river at 3456 River Road.
Great.
Tickets are $25.
Who do they call for tickets on that?
Contact John or Marcia.
There you go. Satch Coletta, our former police chief, is real active in this. Again, it's a salute to vets. That's going to be on Sunday. There'll be afternoon, so you can come here for our ceremony here and go right down to Jim and Jack's and really pay tribute to the vets.
Are you going to lead the parade from here to there?
I will lead it from here, yes. But it's a great event, and again, thank a vet for their service.
We do have reason for executive session tonight, so if I could hear the motion, please, Mr. Luby.
Motion to retire to executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, and/or compensation of public employees of the township, and to consider confidential information related to the marketing plans, specific business strategy, trade secrets, or personal financial statements of an applicant for economic development assistance.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes. Motion approved. That concludes tonight's regular meeting session. Thank you again to the Boy Scout Troop 350 for earning your citizen and community badge tonight. And we'll see you all again on Wednesday. Well, this has the wrong date.
Yes.
This is today.
So
I've already seen them today. How about this one? Wednesday, November the 9th. So, a couple things. First off, Halloween. Everyone, be careful. Stay in lit places. If you can, attend trunk or treats. If you're attending the trunk or treat at C.O. Harrison tomorrow night, you might know the judges. So it'll be a great evening, and it's a great, safe way to get trick-or-treat and Halloween fun in. Secondly, November the 8th is voting day. Please exercise your rights as an American citizen, and please vote. If you have a question, the Board of Elections is there to answer any question you have about your registration, about where to file a ballot, about your precinct. Any of that is all available from the Board of Elections in Hamilton County. So please vote, and we will see you.
Cheryl, can I ask one more question before you head out? Did I hear you say earlier that both governor candidates are for issue 1 and 2? Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. Well, there you go.
So regardless of your party affiliation, both governor candidates are endorsing issue 1 and issue 2. Don't get confused by the verbiage of that issue on your ballot. just know that you vote yes. Okay?
What?
Well, it's,
We're not trying to tell
one,
you how to vote.
no, it's just one of those, it's one of those things where it's written backwards. And everybody familiar with how that's done? So, you know, if you want to endorse issue 1 or issue 2, remember that you vote yes. If you are against it, then you will vote no. Don't get confused by the verbiage of the issue on your ballot. How was that? Did I confuse everyone now? Well, have a very happy and safe Halloween. Have a great voting day, and I will see you on Wednesday, November the 9th.